It seems so simple, but it's not. Hola. So today's title is so adequate. The dreaded visa. It is the worst process ever. And it seems so easy, but it's not, and it's awful. So the first thing that you have to do, no matter where you're going, is to be accepted by your program. Because doing any of this before you have at least a good portion of your program information is going to result in you not being accepted for the visa, not having the information you need, and trying to do a lot of work that is just going to be a lot of stress for you when you don't need to do it to begin with. So wait for your acceptance letter, start filling out stuff after that, but you're still going to have to wait for more stuff from your university before you are really going to be able to submit stuff for your application. I'm mostly going to be talking again about Spain simply because that's the whole process I went through, and that's just the experience I have. However, I feel that it's going to be fairly similar for all of the other European countries. It might not be, it really depends, but I hope to give just kind of a really general view today. So with no further ado, on to all of the requirements. If you are going to Spain, is to fill out the application for a national visa. This form asks you simply to fill out all of your personal information, information about the school that you are going to be attending, who to contact at the school, and it's about 5 pages, some of which is actually just a lot of reading. I don't know why they add that in there. It's just basic information that you're going to need. Fill that out. That's the most important piece, I guess. There's also a supplemental form that some consulates may need. I brought mine to New York City with me, and they kind of laughed at me because it is a form that is very repetitive. It asks you your personal information again in shorter form on which school you are attending, and just a quick thing on how many days you're going to be staying, and how many trips in and out of the country you plan to have. The next thing that I brought with me was both the acceptance to my program and the letter I received after. That is the really important thing to bring. It states that you have paid your tuition, that you are going to have housing and meals through the program you are going with, and that you are going to be provided with health insurance. These are just proof of residence, essentially, and that is the most difficult thing to get with a visa. So make sure you have that, even if you don't have your original acceptance letter, because he said I didn't need it, but I was prepared just in case. Make sure that you have that letter and that you have copies of it both at home and with you, because that is the most essential piece next to the actual application paper. After that, it's good to also have the copy that your school gives you of your medical insurance, because again, that's just additional proof that you do have it and it is ready and set up in your name. Along the same lines is a letter from your doctor stating that you are in good physical and mental condition, and whether he or she feels you are able to study abroad and you won't be going there for medical treatments and stuff, that you are going to be okay. Pretty simple process generally. Mine was very difficult, and I tried to get a signature on a piece of paper for 2 weeks, and I still didn't end up with the signature on my paper, but it was accepted with no problem. So if you are having that same issue, don't stress about it too much, because they should be fine about it. I was told by my program advisor that it's really going to depend on the person that you get at the consulate. However, if they're really just not willing to sign your paper for whatever reason, I personally could not understand it because it takes 2 seconds. But if they're not willing to do it, just keep it. If you have a letter, just keep it and go, and be fine. It's going to save a lot of time and effort on your part. The next part of the process is getting a notarized letter from your parents that says that they will provide you with $1,000 a month while you are in Spain. This, I know, sounds crazy, and your parents are probably going to freak out. However, it's not essential. Like, the letter itself is essential, but the government is not going to go back and check to make sure that your parents are depositing $1,000 in your bank account every month. They're not going to do it. There's too many students in Spain. However, they just want that extra assurance to make sure that you are not going to be homeless on the streets of Spain, because they don't want that problem. So just make sure you've provided everything for yourself and that you have the letter, and everything will be fine. The next part was really, really fun. You can do this in 2 different ways also. You have to get a background check done, and you can do it through the FBI, or you can do it through your state police. Local police is not accepted, just to put that out there. If you go through the FBI, you need to get fingerprinting done, which you can get that done at your local police. However, you also have to fill out an application, and then you have to send it into the FBI. This process can take a bit longer, and I'm pretty sure the study abroad offices at both of my universities said that not many people do the FBI one, because then it also needs to be sent to get the federal apostille of The Hague, which is just going to make the process even longer. Generally, they'll forward it for you, I believe. However, make sure you really look into the process and how long it's going to take before you do that, because, again, the whole visa process is very time sensitive, and if you're not going to get it in time to get to your visa appointment with it in hand, then that's going to be a problem for you. You also can't receive it within a certain amount of time before you apply for your visa. So, like, you can't go in October and have it back in your hands in January and expect to use it at your appointment in June when you go to the consulate. That's not going to work. So again, just really look into the time processing while you do that. On the other hand, I went and got my state background check, which was actually not with my state police, oddly enough. It was with a criminal information center, which I Googled and found really easily. And that was a really, really simple process. I had to drive like an hour to where the site was, but I got there, I gave her my application paper, and I waited for about not even 10 minutes. And I got a nice paper with a nice notarized gold stamp on it, and there was no problem. And I paid her like 30 bucks. 10 minutes, done, in, out, great. And then I had to go down the road and get the state apostille, which is again another paper with another gold stamp on it, and I paid $2 for that one. And that was again maybe 5 minutes. So, I mean, to have that in your hand in 15 minutes, a couple hours including driving, is just so much easier than going and waiting for the FBI. So, depending on who you are and what kind of process you want to do, you want to look into both of them. You're also going to need to bring your passport when you go. This is not for identification purposes. This is for them to put the visa in. You have to leave your passport with them, so don't plan any trips out of the country for a good couple months after you have your visa appointment set up, because you're not going to be able to go. And you also have to bring a money order for, I believe, $60 and a self-addressed UPS envelope. Take note, they do not take any other carrier besides UPS. And I went to the UPS store and they self-addressed the envelope for me. You can probably do it online. I did a 2-day shipping with it. It was just one of the normal envelopes. Cost me about 26 bucks, but I got my passport back really quick, so that was fun. You're also going to need your school ID and or your license. I had to bring my school ID because my license is in a different state that wasn't in the jurisdiction of the consulate I was going to. However, I also brought copies of all 3 things, my passport, my 2 different IDs. So just to be safe, because for whatever reason, you don't know if they need them, It's just good to be prepared. Lastly, of things I brought with me, I was trying to be super prepared just in case they might need anything else. So I brought the forms that I have signed by 3 different departments in my university saying which classes I plan on taking next year to show that I had a full course load. I brought copies of all of my university academic transcripts because I've attended about 3 different universities, just to show that I was in good academic standing. And I also brought copies of my loan just to make sure that they knew that I was going to be in good financial standing as well, because I didn't want to get there and have them be like, oh, but you haven't shown this, because that would have been bad. The kind of fun part about doing the whole process, because again, this sounds really easy, but when you're trying to make appointments and fit in all this different stuff that you have to do and get all this stuff from other people, it's really difficult. And you have to work around other people. It's not something that you can just go through and do by yourself and be like, yay, I'm done. No, it's a lot of waiting for other people to get stuff done for you, and that's the worst. But the fun part was that you get to book a place to stay, generally, unless you live really close to your consulate, which you are very lucky. But I found a budget hotel place online, and I booked this cute little inn in New York City, and it was like $150 for 2 nights in the middle of New York City, right next to a metro station. It was fantastic. I had such a lovely time, and it was nice. After doing the whole thing, the first day I was really nervous because I was like, crap, what if I don't have something? Oh. But my appointment was really early the next morning. I got out and I just walked around the city, and I felt so free, and it was so beautiful because not only have you finished with the whole process, but you get to celebrate in a place that is not your home. It's like a mini vacation, and it was just wonderful. Anyway, I hope this has helped some of you with the visa process, kind of just getting acquainted with it should you be going later, or just kind of reminiscing even on your own process. And I'd love to hear from either of you types of people. If you have questions, then please submit them below. If you have any stories, you can also submit those below. And we can also discuss this on Tumblr. My link to my page is down there too. And I will also link to the Spanish consulate in New York City, the requirements page for all the different visas, if you want to take a look at that. I hope you subscribe. I hope you keep in touch. There will be more videos coming because I'm going to be packing kind of soon. Maybe not next week, but definitely probably the week after-ish. And I might even think of something else to talk about because, as we know, I talk so much. So until the next video, hasta luego.